Hello, my name is Solmaz Barghgir. I'm a psychotherapist and relationship coach based in Toronto, Canada. You are listening to Table in Thoughts podcast. In this podcast, I talk about psychological and relationship topics, many of which come directly from the work I do with my clients as a relationship coach. This episode is copyright 2021 to 2025, protected worldwide, all rights reserved. This is the third part of our Boundary Series podcast. In part 1, we talked about how boundaries get crossed so easily, culturally, relationally, and emotionally. In part 2, we explored why boundaries feel so hard, and we talked about the difference between pros, rigid, and healthy boundaries, and how boundaries are rooted in self-respect. And today, my friends, we are going even deeper into the part no one really talks about. We are talking about why we break our own boundaries, why we feel guilty after setting them, and why we apologize for having needs. Why we go back, explain ourselves too much, or abandon our limits the moment someone looks disappointed. This episode isn't about blaming yourself. It's about understanding the emotional patterns behind boundary collapse and learning how to hold your ground without hardening your heart. So let's see why we feel guilty after setting boundaries. We feel guilty after setting boundaries because guilt is a learned survival response. The other reason is love has been conditional in childhood, based on saying yes or no. Remember, good child versus being difficult child that we have been programmed when we were growing up? And fear of abandonment disguised as empathy. So, my friends, guilt doesn't mean you did something wrong. It often means you did something new. It's good to know that our attachment style has a huge influence on how we relate to boundaries, often without us even realizing it. If you learn toward anxious attachment, setting a boundary can feel terrifying. You may find yourself over-explaining, justifying every decision, or chasing reassurance after you say no. It's not that you don't believe in your boundary. It's that you're afraid the boundary will cost you connection. If you lean toward avoidant attachment, boundaries might show up in a different way. Instead of speaking up, you disappear. You pull away, go quiet, or emotionally shut down rather than risking vulnerability or conflict. Remember, the boundary exists, but it's unspoken, and that silence often creates more distance than clarity. And for those with disorganized attachment, boundaries can feel confusing or inconsistent. One moment you want closeness, the next, you feel overwhelmed and push away. You may set a boundary, then break it, then resent yourself for doing so. This kind of push and pull isn't a character flaw. It's a nervous system trying to protect itself. This is an important reframe, my friends. Boundaries are not personality flaws. They are attachment adaptations. They are patterns you learned in order to stay connected, stay safe, or stay loved. So why we go back after saying no? So many people set a boundary, feel proud for a moment, and then go back. They call, they explain, they soften the limit, or they undo it completely. This is not weakness, my friend. Often it's trauma bonding. When you are used to instability or emotional inconsistency, familiar discomfort can feel safer than unfamiliar peace. Your nervous system recognizes chaos. It knows how to survive there. Calm, clarity, and distance might actually feel threatening because they are new. Sometimes we confuse emotional pain with love. We think intensity means connection. We think anxiety means care. And when a boundary disrupts that familiar emotional rhythm, our body pulls up back. Not because the boundary was wrong, but because the pattern was familiar. My friends, the powerful truth here is this. Your nervous system may crave what your soul has outgrown. Healing means learning to tolerate the unfamiliar quiet that comes with healthier choices. This episode is copyright 2021 to 2025, protected worldwide, all rights reserved. So let's explore what to do when a boundary is crossed. When a boundary is crossed, many people think they only have two options: explode or disappear. But there is a third way: calm, grounded repetition. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to re-explain your entire life story. You can simply restate the boundary and adjust access. That might sound like I've already shared my boundary and I'm going to take some space now. Or I'm not available for this conversation. I'll connect when this feels respectful. My friends, boundaries aren't about winning an argument. They're about protecting your energy. Sometimes the most powerful response is not engagement, but consistency. My friends, the reality is we all need to learn how to tolerate discomfort without self-abandonment. This is the emotional muscle most of us were never taught to build. Holding a boundary often means letting someone else be disappointed. And for many of us, that feels unbearable. But discomfort is not danger. Disappointment is not abandonment. Someone's reaction does not determine your worth. Learning to stay regulated while holding a limit is a practice. It means noticing the urge to explain, fix, or retreat, and choosing to stay present instead. It means choosing peace over approval, even when approval feels safer. My friends, always remember, discomfort is not danger. It's the feeling of growth. And every time you stay with that discomfort without abandoning yourself, you're teaching your nervous system a new way to feel safe. One rooted in self-respect rather than survival. This episode is copyright 2021 to 2025, protected worldwide, all rights reserved. My friends, I want you to remember something important. You're not bad at boundaries. You're just unlearning survival. If you have set a boundary and then broken it, it doesn't mean you failed. It means you noticed. And noticing is progress. Boundaries aren't a one-time decision. They are a practice, a relationship with yourself that deepens over time. And every time you choose clarity over guilt, self-respect over fear, peace over performance, you're teaching your nervous system a new truth. You can be loved without disappearing. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for your support. I hope this episode had something for you to use it throughout your daily boundary setting. Until next episode, take good care of yourself.